Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the We Can Relate podcast. I'm Naya.
I'm Bryant.
I'm Scholastica.
And I'm Twilla.
And as you can see, we're one short. Langston has more important things to do, apparently, than hang out with family, but it's fine. It's fine.
No, he'll be back next week, Naya.
Yeah, he'll be back next week. It's fine. This happens. When there's 5 of us, it's hard to get everyone to come together, even virtually. So you got 4 of us today. But yeah, let's jump right into some discussion. I think we should start with praise reports and prayer requests.
Are we in church?
Doing it because we're Black and we grew up in church, so we have to. So for those of you who don't know, who grew up in a Catholic church, which is fine, our father did as well, but a prayer request is maybe something you need help on, you need prayer over, something's not going so well in your life, or a praise report, something that's going great, God came through, and it's like your testimony. So yeah, we can maybe do a positive or a negative, or both. Who wants to start?
Well, I don't know if this will be a praise report, but I finally told my job I'm not coming back. So maybe a prayer request would be like, let's see how things go. Please put that up in the air. So
Cool.
Man, that's all right, baby.
You better do it.
Well, who else?
What if you don't have a prayer request or a praise report? What if you're just like content?
Are you breathing? Are you living?
Hey,
The God
So that's why I'm content.
You got a roof over your head?
You better praise him.
amen.
So what's your praise report, Brian?
I got a roof over my head and I'm breathing.
Amen. Yes.
Well,
I weren't so tired I'd get up and big shout. Well, you got something?
I could go. I have not yet found my millionaire husband, so if you all can continue praying.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I can. I know some people.
Millionaire.
No.
Okay then.
Well, let's send her a Boaz. Amen. Okay, that's your prayer request to that $1 billion man? That's fine.
I mean, I'm just playing, but also just, like strength and energy to keep going through the week and create, keeping a positive attitude and, always having my creative juices flowing,
Yeah.
That's what I always pray for.
Amen.
should have bought a Honda.
Amen. And if you want a Winston Zook, go for it, girl.
You better say the right Winston, girl.
Yeah, I can say it's Winston from New Girl, but I know that. Winston Duke is M'Baku from Black Panther.
Oh, got you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I guess I'll give a praise request. I think we mentioned before that this is kind of anxious. What? Praise request. Is that what I said?
Request.
Yes, I would like to request to praise. Permission granted.
Amen, sister.
Thank you. Praise report. Prayer report. Okay. Praise report. I think we mentioned that we're an anxious bunch. The one not anxious person isn't here. And so I deal with anxiety throughout. But I feel like I'm doing so much better than I was like last Monday. I'm in a much better place. Deep breathing, prayer has gotten me through. So I'm thankful for that. Because I deal with those things, like peace is very valuable to me. So.
I love that.
That's all right.
Come on, peace. Come on.
Yeah.
Preach it, Reverend Preacher.
All right.
He will give you peace.
Prince of Peace. Be anxious for nothing. But in all things. I literally say that verse to myself. That's why I know
it. As you should, girl. And praying for peace beyond understanding. I feel you.
Yes. But Tula, do you want to introduce kind of the topic for the day?
Yeah, so I've really been thinking about this a lot lately. All of us have at some point and do live, pretty far away from home, or have lived far away from home, and so as I'm thinking about that, and we're a close-knit family, and thinking as we grow and stuff, like, how do we select, like, where do we live? Like, how do you factor in, like, how important it is to be close to each other? You know, we got parents in North Carolina, and it's like, you know, like, you think about all those different things, and just wondering, how do you go about, like, when you're thinking about your next move, what you're going to do, where should you move?
Well, you know, coming from China, I thought I would probably want to go to LA with y'all, because I was like, I can't go from the hustle and bustle to like quiet, you know? But then I just started thinking about them dollar bills. And I knew that North Carolina would be where I'd probably go, plus being around mom and dad. But then South Carolina was closer to my job. So
do you feel like, so for you, it was like cost of living and making your dollar stretch was mostly important?
Yeah.
A big factor? Or was it, so your two choices seemed like it was like North Carolina with mom and dad, or LA with your 3 out of your 4 siblings. So still family was factored in that.
Yep. Definitely family, but family in LA, because the dollars.
Yeah.
So that was ultimately the end.
Family wasn't factored in though when you spent 17 years in Shanghai.
7, almost 8.
It took like a pandemic for you to come back home.
Well, you know, I was only going to be gone for a year. I didn't even think I'd make it through the year, because you remember how nervous I was. Then every year after that, I thought I was coming home. But yeah,
we did
the
too.
pandemic.
Yeah. Yep. I think I was like, okay, she'll be there for 2 years. And then like one day I was like, Scholastica's been in China for 5 years. I guess it's time to go visit, because she ain't coming back.
But if you really think about it, the first one of us to go all the way across somewhere was you.
Facts on facts.
That's true.
Yeah. So like,
she didn't live there.
Huh?
Oh, like you're saying.
Wow.
Wow.
What did he say?
He said, but she didn't
live there.
there.
No, it's not important.
You thought she was there talking about Africa?
Yeah.
Well, let's visited Africa. Didn't live there.
Yeah, like I think for me, like the first big move after college, because Chapel Hill was 3 hours away from home, and then going to DC, that was an 8-hour move, but it didn't impact me so much because I could still hop in my car and drive. And then there was a place that had flights for like home. I think I would fly home for $99.
Your airline?
No, honey, no. It was called, I don't know, something blue something.
JetBlue?
No, it wasn't JetBlue. It's not around anymore, but like they would always have deals from like Reagan to Charlotte. And that was like a 45-minute flight. I go take the first flight, get home, and they always had deals. And I hate that they stopped. I mean, there's no way they could last like that, but it was great.
They traveled with like the planes with the propellers that you had to start.
No, it was really good. Like they gave you like hot towels and everything on this flight. It was a fancy little flight.
So it really wasn't an unsustainable business model.
Yeah, unsustainable.
Like y'all just pay for the gas. We'll take care of everything else.
Yeah. And like the flights would never be full. So it was, yeah, it was not a good model, but it was great for me while I lived there in DC. And then, you know, like I decided to move to LA. As y'all know, like my first choice was New York. Like I thought I was gonna stay on the East Coast.
We even looked for houses together.
Yeah, I never really had a desire to like move to like LA because earthquakes and smog and stuff like that. Like I just never, like I liked the idea of visiting, but then I remember coming on spring break one time and I was like, these palm trees are kind of skinny. Like they're not what they look like on TV. Like, why does the city look like this? So I didn't have like a really true desire. So I always thought like I'd be on the East Coast. I could just run down home when I need to. And then y'all can come up to New York to visit me. And for the longest, I wanted to act. So I thought I was going to be doing Broadway. And then when I went to film school, I was like, well, I can work in casting or something that could keep me on the East Coast. I was so not thinking of the West Coast. Like I wouldn't take any internship out of here. Like I just knew it wasn't, that's not for me. And so here we are in LA. And
How many
it
years
kinda,
later?
huh?
How many years later?
Like 11, right?
No,
I thought
like
it was 15.
17, 14. I said 17, 14. Yeah, so
Yeah,
like,
'cause you were here before I went to school. That's right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You were still in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I came out here. And I mean, it made sense career-wise for me to come out here. It wasn't necessarily easy. I'll talk about that eventually, but like living in LA was not easy, but it was necessary for my career. And I think it made it easier. Like when Scholastica and Naya moved out here, it's like at least I had some
And then
family.
Scala was like, no.
And then like 11 months later, Scholastica was like, no more.
Bye grad school, bye work. I thought I was coming over for vacation. You remember my car was still out there.
Yep. And you're like, I'm not coming back. It's like, oh, snap.
Yeah, I forgot you were in grad school. Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was feeling that too. We definitely had a culture shock. Scala and I were in a coma when we came out here, like just
Because I had never been out there. Y'all at least visited. I never.
yeah,
been
but
out
when
there.
you visit LA, you see the good parts of it. But then when you think of it like, oh, I'm gonna be here for a while, then you kind of see like, oh, this street's a little dirty. Is there street cleaning here? No. Okay, so just kind of see the dirt a little bit more and the skinny trees, as Tula said.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Them skinny palm trees.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. But so basically, Tula, you selected where you were gonna live based off of like your career
Opportunities.
Mhm.
and opportunities and things like that. And Scala likes to be close to family, but I think you had a moment where you just had to do something different. And we fully encouraged you to try Shanghai, right?
Yeah, that was you. You said you can teach English abroad. You told me that twice. No, Twila.
Okay, Tula. Okay.
And then I finally did it, and then she's sitting here talking about. Oh,
I mean, I wanted you to go abroad. Like I wanted you to try new things for sure. And then you chose the most random place.
You know how I chose it though?
How?
I know how you chose it.
I remember seeing an episode of Top Model, and I think they're on the Bund or something, and I was like, Shanghai, I'll go there.
Funny.
So thanks, Tyra.
You how to smize and about Shanghai.
Exactly.
And then Bryant has you were in Greenville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't quite remember the story fully anymore, but Twila might be able to help me out with this. I partied too much in college, obviously. I have no memory.
Greenville is a party school, or ECU is a party school, so it makes sense.
We'll call it my school. It's a fine institute of learning.
Right.
But yeah, I guess after I graduated, like I was struggling finding a job, and I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go. If I want to stay in North Carolina, in Greenville, go back, I definitely didn't want to go back to Shelby. And I was like, if I do go back to Shelby, I can work in Charlotte, and then maybe eventually I'll be able to find a place in Charlotte. But I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do that either. And then I think I was talking to Twila and she was telling me about LA and how like I might be able to find a job out there. And I was like, you know what? I was struggling because it's like that's a huge life change. But also around that time I was like going through like depression and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just kind of took like my depression, I kind of started realizing whenever I'm depressed, it's probably situational. So that just means there's a big life change that I need to make. And so I was like, okay, let me go over to LA. And when I got to LA, still couldn't find a job. So I started working retail, and then I started doing background, and then I started pursuing acting. Then became a substitute teacher. But ultimately, I got off on a tangent, guys. But anyway, where was I at?
You're in LA.
Going to LA.
Oh, why did I choose LA? So that's kind of why I chose LA, right? and also like now the reason I'm staying because I don't really like LA. Like I don't like the like how crowded it is. I don't like that the dirtiness of LA either.
Did you like it
You
before?
liked LA, Brian.
So what?
I thought you didn't like LA, but you were talking like all pro LA, like, oh, I'm gonna move out to LA again. Oh, mom and dad should move out.
Because y'all don't. Okay, now if you let me finish, all right. Thank you. Uh, I like LA for the opportunity that it has, and I like the fact that you can't really ever be bored. Like you can be bored here, but it's your own fault. There's always something to do.
That's true.
So like I like those two things, like the opportunity that it provides. You can pretty much find any type of job out here, and you can find any activity to do out here. If you any activity you're interested in, like you could be. I'm sure there's like a I don't know. What are those
Mountain
people?
school.
Mascot, a kangaroo mascot fighting club or something. You probably find that here, and that's cool, you know. Whereas if you're in North Carolina, if you're into kangaroo fight clubs, mascot fight clubs, I don't want to say kangaroo fight clubs. Then
Changed the story completely.
no, don't get my spit. Anyway, I don't want like you can't find that in North Carolina, but you can find a bunch of random stuff over here. Like for example, I went to a Star Trek themed opera. I don't think I'd be able to find that in North Carolina.
Do you
You
think
know,
does that like weigh out like when you think about like the cost of living in LA? Does it is it worth it for you? And being far away from home?
To be honest, I don't know if family factors. They factor. Hold on. wait, hold on. No, family factors in. But like for example, I probably would never move out here if I didn't have family out here. But I think now moving back, like yeah, I want to be closer to mom and dad, but I think opportunity just like also weighs heavily as well.
That's what I was thinking. It sounds like we all kind of, it's like opportunity. I mean, I would say with the exception of Scala, but I think it's still also like family has to do with it too. Cause maybe if Tula was in Austin, Bryant, and you're like, oh, there's more cool stuff to do in Austin, you'd probably be there instead of LA. Or if she was in like Nashville, probably the same thing. So
Yeah,
I
but
always
she was
think
in
that's
Nebraska, not so much.
yeah, we'd be like,
But it kind of is like, that's why it sucked being in Shanghai because, like Bryant said, you could find anything. It was just always popping. It was wonderful. So that's what kept me there that long. But why I always knew I would leave is because y'all were here. But if y'all would have all moved there, I could have stayed forever.
Naya, how did you end up? Tell us your story.
Yeah, so like mom and dad have this rule. Basically, we're all from North Carolina, obviously, and it was about time for me to choose where to go to college. There was this rule for the longest that we had to do undergrad at least in North Carolina. Y'all remember that? But for some reason, I was allowed to go wherever I wanted, which probably was to my detriment. I love USC, but like in-state tuition's pretty nice in North Carolina too. But yeah, so I always thought I wanted to be a Tar Heel. That's where Tula went. I was 7 when she went off to school, and I just thought it was the coolest town. It's still it's a great institution, but I just kind of got bored. When you're from small town, North Carolina, I feel like the goal is to leave for a lot of people. At least that was the goal amongst most of my friends and within like my siblings and all of that. We just always wanted to leave. And so I just kind of got that itch. Tula was already out in LA, kind of how we say like opportunity plus family. So I wanted something new, something more exciting. And, you know, I looked at California and North Carolina primarily, a few other schools, but primarily those locations. And I got into USC. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't initially fall in love with it when I did the tour, but they sent like really good kind of like materials telling me about the opportunities there after I got accepted. And I realized that there's a lot to offer. USC has a lot to offer in terms of like networking. And if you wanted to do research opportunities, and the LA would be a cool place to go to school. So I am, after like kind of looking in hindsight, I'm so grateful that I went to USC, but that first year was so hard for me. Even with with sisters out there, it was just the craziest cultural transition. And it's a different demographic than even what I was used to. Just things were new, and it was
From high
big.
school to like this whole
Yeah.
new life.
A
Yeah.
high school of like less than 1,000 people to like a school with, I think, equal amounts of people than in our hometown, like 32,000 students at that time, I think, when I was there, like undergrad and grad. So it's just overwhelming, like just beautiful, tanned people, and like, why are you guys all rich? And how do you have all the right outfits? And like, your eyebrows look great. And it's just very uncomfortable. But yeah, and then I think what really started making LA feel like a home was when I discovered the church fam that I'm still a part of, One LA. And I felt like those messages really resonated with me. And it was the first time that I felt like, okay, I'm glad that I moved out here. Like I was feeling a lot of like doubt, like, what if I had chosen Chapel Hill? That probably would have been better. Oh, I probably should have chosen Howard. I get why that would have been a cool experience now. I didn't get it at first, but kind of getting that experience with my church family was the first time I felt like, okay, it's good that I moved out here.
Yeah.
And then so I did undergrad and grad school here. I had a moment where I felt like I wasn't going on the right path. So I chose to move back home for a couple of years. So I was back in North Carolina, back in Shelby, North Carolina for a couple of years, and then moved back out here because I felt like it was time to do more things and have more opportunity. So I moved out here at the end of 2017 and have been here since. But then now, being kind of older and really thinking about priorities, and I think with the pandemic, like reminding us what our priorities are, just really is having me question, like, what do I want? I really feel like I need to be closer to mom and dad. I don't think it has to be North Carolina, but I'm starting to think, like, are the good things of LA, I think I can find them elsewhere, and it could be more affordable, like Atlanta. And Atlanta has more benefits as well compared to LA. So yeah, I've never planned really. I guess family definitely influences where I look at to move, but I never really thought about like being very intentional about making sure I'm close to family. And I just wish that we could all come together and be closer, like at least all on one coast, one region of America. But
now Lanston is like,
hi.
Denver and Chicago, and like wherever they may end up in Chicago, which is Midwest, which is still closer to home technically.
The cool thing like about Lanston, I know that he would always fly over.
Yeah,
especially if we're all on one Brian. Where'd Brian go?
Okay, Brian.
Okay, nobody want to talk to him either.
But yeah, I think that I still think that one day we'll all kind of migrate closer together. But if he doesn't, I think that he'll make a lot of time. So
that's true. Like,
sorry, it was hot. I had to turn on the air.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're back, Brian. But yeah, that's true. And I know we even also talk about like being able to do more family trips together, but even still twice a year, that's not
it's not. And I think I'm glad that we had that, like those years in between to just go and find ourselves or whatever. And then now that we're like kind of settling down or just getting older, it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, maybe before opportunities and stuff were a thing, but now it's more like family and knowing how to shape our lives to still feel as full no matter where we are.
Yeah.
And then what opportunity means, right? Because like now I'm not interested in another apartment. If I'm honest, I want a home with a backyard, front yard, so in terms of opportunity, LA is not giving me that unless I'm going to be rich anytime soon, which I'm not planning on it. Or if I'm like ready to move an hour out, or plus.
And even still, you need to be.
Even still, it's still ridiculous, but it's not $1 million. For a townhouse or whatever. I haven't looked at prices, don't quote me, but just feeling like that's not attainable. So I have different dreams and goals now. I'm still young, of course, but I have different priorities, I think.
Yeah, I think for sure, like thinking about like, there's a period of time where our parents want to be close to us too. So they were like really thinking about LA, and then just thinking about like what they want and what they like in life and where they are in life. It's ridiculous to ask them to come and then spend all your retirement money on like a corner of a house or whatever, like just because, you know, like what you said, you like where your money can stretch further and, you know, it's actually home. And then, you know, like our parents like land and talk about having animals and stuff like that. So it's like, we can't ask y'all to like pick up and come to where we are because that reality might be a little bit more difficult to achieve than you can have it now, like that sort of thing. And so it's just like, well, then, you know, like, how do we make, you know, like it's like that you factor those things into your decisions. And I think we're a unique generation in the sense, like so many people are now being so far away from home, like is, you know, people get up and leave, like, and I guess for us, we saw that with dad, like dad was like, I'm leaving Cameroon. And so he's been far away from his family, but cultivated such a close-knit family that it still feels kind of important for us to be able to be close to one another.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm still down to have like a large plot of land and
That's valid.
everybody
No.
has,
We're not starting a commune. Okay.
it can be like separate, would just be like neighbors, but it's
They're not
many like,
hippies.
it's not like that. One day
We can all live on a commune and we establish a rules that we live by. I'm
A
the
flag,
leader,
a
and you have to
language,
praise me.
a currency,
The currency.
a religion.
It's not even like that. Just
Call me
wait.
Bagwan.
So Bryant, out of curiosity, hearing about like how you like opportunities and like be able to do cool things and not get bored, like would a place like Austin or Houston or Atlanta ever be on your radar, do you think?
I don't know. I'd have to go to these places now and see if they also offer just as much. You know, I know they offer things, but it being like the second largest city and it's just like a really artistic city.
New York offers way more than LA.
But yeah, but New York is crazy expensive and I don't want to go to the crazy expensive.
They never go to sleep. Like LA, like clubs close. New York would be like,
yeah.
No,
well, I mean, I don't like clubs like that. It's not just clubs.
Like restaurants and stuff. A lot of stuff don't close. Like that was actually a shock for me when I moved out from DC. Even like LA just seemed to shut down earlier than DC.
I mean, look, I'm not someone that likes to be out all the time, but so it's like I don't care about how long it stays open. It's just like, oh, I can do this thing. Oh, I can do that thing. Oh, I can do this.
Boxing kangaroos.
Boxing kangaroos.
On this little tip lately, and I see where I have a lot of friends who are like, you know, they're in their mid 30s, early 40s, and they're like moving out of LA because there's no, you know, like they want to own homes and they want to be able, they want their money to stretch further and they want not to have to keep working as hard as we do to just have a certain lifestyle. So they're actually, I know several couples and several individuals who have just left LA and built lives in Texas. And then like having conversations with people and just being like, if you don't have to live in LA, like I say experience it. I think it's a cool experience for everyone to have. But if you don't have to be here for a career and you really know like you want to buy a home or you're in a certain point of life, bye, like go somewhere else. Like,
yeah, like I made a list. I think I told you guys about this, like when I was maybe feeling frustrated. I think the pandemic really brought like my desire for overall change in my life. And I was like, okay, what do you want from a place that you live in? Because I am a homebody. So it's actually kind of silly to be like, I just need to be, you know, like I don't need to be in LA, like other places I'm sure have it. And I'm like, I need a nice coffee shop. So like every city in America, nice church, every city in America, nice gym, same, you know? But then I was like, okay, what is it about LA that I like? And I think I like places that have a vibe, you know, like a culture, like they feel alive, because I think we've lived in places that have felt stagnant. So it's like that still can be a lot of places. And I'm thinking of places I traveled for work, like Atlanta, Austin. I feel like Nashville would be like that. Places that are getting more expensive, but are still so much more affordable. And I like places where like Black people are thriving, which is why I was like, okay, Atlanta, places where there's still opportunities for the area that I would like to move in terms of work. That could be, and it could be more remote. So maybe that doesn't really matter, like as we move to doing more remote work. So yeah, I almost feel like Atlanta is the new Tanny frontier the more we talk about it. Scala, I know you like ATL.
Yeah, we really liked it. I told you we were gonna go back just to look at the neighborhoods because we're literally grandmas, I guess now. But yeah, wanted to just go back to drive through the neighborhoods because it had some really cute places, good vibes. It still had like, somehow they managed to have like, at least the area we were at, where it was a hustle and bustle, but it was also like small town.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
There's
Yeah.
like a couple of areas like even like Decatur, they're really doing Decatur up, and like you get like nice little freestanding houses, and then there's like this cute little, like there's a hipster barbecue joint right up the street, but then there's some real barbecue like down the other direction. Like, so it's like really cool vibes in Atlanta. I like, even if I could, I've always seen myself being bi-coastal, and for the longest it was always like LA and New York, because I am going to have a penthouse in Tribeca. That is going to happen. But also like, I'm like, well, the likelihood of me buying something in LA, like right now, like maybe I have a couple of cities that I've been considering, and Atlanta is on that list as like, if I'm going to buy at least a property, maybe, there.
I feel like Southern bigger cities had that vibe, kind of what you said, Scott, that nice mix of like small town, what we like about the South, where we're from, but still big city, something's going on.
Yeah.
They're all married though, so for me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go there. Yeah.
Not all of them, Brian, but yes, people do.
Well, it's
marry
gonna be
much
hard
younger.
for me to find a girl out in the South where everyone gets married at like 20.
No,
but
because
then they also get divorced by then.
They do. That is true. But I'm not trying to deal with like a baby daddy drama.
People are definitely marrying later, and there are like single individuals. There are single Black women for sure in these areas, and they're thriving and have great jobs.
But are they fun?
Yes, Bryant. Have you seen single successful Black women?
No, there's no. Actually, there's no fun Black women in Atlanta.
I'm talking about. I feel like it's hard to find people that are just fun. Like people just can be boring sometimes. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know your crowds. All my friends are fun.
I get tired of people.
I never found any new people, and like since I've been here, it's been the pandemic. Literally, I only have the same two friends that I had since, let's see, Christie Middle School, Adapt University. So I don't know any else here.
Right. I feel like if you go to more creative spaces, I think those are the people you like. So there's still gonna be
Just
acting classes in ATL.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you find your people, because you're just doing what you want to do. And you're like, oh.
Go to a paint class, go to a cooking class. You're gonna find fun people that like to create,
Y'all make me sound boring. Go to a cooking class, go to a painting class.
That sounds fun.
Okay.
I was like, and there's tons of bars and stuff. Like
go to a bar, go to a brewery, go to a beer tasting,
Yeah.
Go to an archery class.
Go to a museum. So many places.
We can't meet a woman and we can, but
your views on life are weird, Brian. I'm not gonna go
Look, I learned, I learned to stay in my lane with a lot of stuff, okay? Because
that's another topic for another day.
That's another topic for another day. Tangents, Brian.
Well, I think this, of course, always, what?
I'm just gonna throw in that opportunity to meet women.
That's right.
So we gathered from that whole
I just wanted.
You feel like it's a better opportunity? Is it a better opportunity to meet women in LA, you feel like?
And really,
I feel like I feel like they're seen more often single women out here.
But do they have your views and your beliefs and what you want from a relationship? Do they want that too?
But the thing is, you can find that, like, because I know a lot of people out in the South that also don't have my same views and beliefs and stuff.
Oh, yeah, because you're kind of weird.
I'm thinking I already know what the next topic's gonna be.
What?
Cliffhanger.
If you can't figure it out, then yes, well, you figured it out.
Relationships. Yeah, so I think LA has just a big different group of a hodgepodge of women, I guess, if you will. And whereas like North Carolina, the South, like they kind of have like
quality over quantity, though, Brian. Like you're just like there's hundreds of thousands of women. They might.
You're a person.
What?
Go ahead. I was about to interrupt you, then I stopped myself.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. We even had this discussion and you agreed. See, sometimes I just think you like to talk.
But I do like to play devil's advocate.
Yes,
by the way,
but
I do enjoy that. But this is not me playing devil's advocate. This is me just having a different realization. Probably a couple of years ago, I would have been like, yeah, I can't date women in LA. And then now it's like, well, maybe I can date women in LA. But in the South, it's kind of boring because I was in the South for a whole year.
During the pandemic.
Doing what? And what was open?
On Tinder and Bumble. And
nobody wants your Corona.
I was reading their stuff. I was like, this.
It looked like they might have wanted Corona. Lord.
Yes.
That's not a fair assessment. It really isn't.
It's not. Touche.
You was about to use it as a fair assessment.
But I can admit when I'm wrong. I'm not that funny.
Well, my dears, this was a great topic, a good conversation. I think, I'll be interested maybe like fast forwarding in a year to see where everybody is on like how we feel about this topic then. And
how everybody will be here.
We're all in Atlanta.
No, we're all in South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Don't try to hate.
I hated on that hard.
It was cute. And plus, we might just get another spot elsewhere. This is our what's going to end up being our rental.
Okay. I feel you. We're not mad at that. We support that.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll see where it will be.
So everyone, thanks for joining in on our topic today, hanging out where we can relate in our podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and please always comment. We want to hear your thoughts. What should we talk about next? Where should Bryant meet women? Let's help him out there. What city? He's a handsome gentleman.
And then I'll go out there and test out the city and see how it is.
So it's going to be a whole separate podcast.
Bryant travels. What's it going to be called?
3 blind dates or something like that. Like we set up 3 blind dates in each city he goes to.
Oh, that's a whole show. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, you want to go to Salt Lake City? We could do Salt Lake City, Austin, Kansas City. We could start there and down strips. I'm down for that. I'll produce it.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yep.
I like it.
Right. It's good talking to y'all, Sibs.
Love ya.
Love you.
Love y'all.
Till next time, guys, be sure to like, subscribe, press that notification bell. Please leave comments and share.